Welcome back. You know, after his departure from one of my favorite bands, the Canadian band the Barenaked Ladies, Stephen Page has remained in perpetual motion, composing music with an eclectic cadre of artists and putting the finishing touches on his own solo album, Page One. Well, now that he's calling Syracuse his part-time home, Steve has added a stop on his current tour at the famous Westcott Theater. Actually, he was here last weekend, and our producer climbed aboard his tour bus to chat with Stephen because there's a restraining order against me.
Okay. Oh, all right.
About his new album, his new address, and this new chapter in his life.
This is how REM does it, right?
This is our fourth show on the tour, and yeah, we've kind of got it up and running, and I'm pretty pleased that we could get it all together. You know, we got the bus, got the band, got the crew. It's a weird time for the concert industry in general. I mean, even some of the big tours of last summer were dying horrible deaths on the road, so it's really hard to know who's going to fork out the money and the time to come out and see a concert. And for me, being kind of, I think for some people, a bit of an unknown quantity. I mean, they know, even when they go see the other guys in Barenaked Ladies, they kind of have some sense of what they're going to get, even though they're not going to get this part. It takes a bit of guts or a bit of faith on their part to actually come to the show, but the reaction has been so fantastic from fans that I feel really positive about what the future is going to bring. I didn't want to make a show that was going to be difficult or turn people off. I wanted to make something that was satisfying for me, and I know that as a musician, nothing I'm aiming to do is intended to turn people off. Same time, I do want people to know that I'm proud of the heritage that I have behind me, the legacy of the music I did with Barenaked Ladies. It's not something I'm trying to leave in my past, that it's just part of the journey of what I'm on. And so I do play lots of new stuff and lots of old stuff as well. And with a new band, there's lots of rearrangements of old Barenaked Ladies songs, which is lots of fun to do. In a certain way, it's Page One. You could look at it as a whole fresh start, a clean slate. But in another way, it's the first page of the next chapter. It is a continuation, and as much as it's setting out on my own, people listen to it, I think they'll hear where I've come from as well. That it's not that I'm not a new artist starting out. That in a lot of ways it will remind people of what they liked about what I did before too. I like eclecticism. I like records like that. I mean, think about my favorite records are albums like the White Album, where there's every different style you could imagine, from essentially old show tunes to hard rock to R&B. It really, that record's all over the map, and that's kind of, yeah, so this has all those things. This has rock and roll and big band and disco and synth pop. I got to admit, I'm a little bit nervous just because I feel like I have something to prove, being the new adopted hometown. I never would have imagined I was going to be here. You never imagine really where you're going to end up, and love takes you strange places. Luckily, Syracuse is not that strange. It's I have been here a lot of times, so I knew a lot about the town before I started coming here regularly and before I started living here. But yeah, I like it, and I feel pretty attached to it. There was a certain sense of triumph in landing on your feet and feeling like you're on solid ground again. But even though you may be in a certain way on your own or with a new group of people, it doesn't mean that you're stranded either.
We were mentioning at the top of the show, we've been on the air together for 22 years. It was about 20 years ago that we first met Stephen Page with the Barenaked Ladies at the Jamesville Balloon Fest.
That's right.
He
looks like he's lost a lot of weight since then. I just remember him jumping around stage at about 80 degrees. Remember that?
He looks a lot younger than he did back then, and I look so much older.
I don't know how that works.
Get that.
Well, Page is on tour now through the end of December. For tour dates, music downloads, and his blog updates, you can visit him at stephenpage.com.